Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to another Walking Dead video. So in this one here, I want to talk about the very final scene. I also wanted to update you guys on what's going on in the Walking Dead universe, because there was actually an AMC Upfront event, I believe is what it was called, last night. And so yeah, I wanted to talk about that a little bit here, because that was really important, because obviously we want to know the direction of the Walking Dead universe and all of that. And so yeah, I'll talk about that in a second here. But yeah, I wanted to talk about the very final scene here. I saw the ending of the Walking Dead Show Me More. It's like the Ones Who Live Show Me More, I guess, episode special or whatever. And yeah, very cool. I still haven't watched the full thing, but it's because I'm actually waiting to stream it this weekend on Twitch. I'll be reacting to it live and watching it with you guys. So yeah, I've just been waiting for that, but then I'll do a review, or I guess a breakdown of like any new details that we sort of learn, or like Easter eggs and stuff like that from like the series and all of that. So yeah, before we go any further, obviously make sure to be a subscriber if you want to get all my Walking Dead content like this. I am reviewing the Fallout series, so I don't know if you guys have seen, I posted one video. I'm going to be reviewing episodes probably like 2, 3, and 4 today. I'm still going to be posting the same amount of Walking Dead content, so there's just going to be extra videos sort of like just on the side. And I really want to do like episode reviews like every single episode, and that's why I kind of wish that Fallout would just like release their episodes weekly, because now I have to like watch all 8 episodes and release literally all my reviews for every single episode. So I'll probably be done the entire show by tomorrow, but yeah, and then I'll probably do some videos sort of I guess afterwards. I know the views for that aren't like the best, or like there's not a lot of people who really watch, I guess, but I'm honestly enjoying it, and so I'm just still going to keep doing what I'm doing here in terms of Walking Dead stuff, but I'm going to be doing all of that because I really love the Fallout world, and it's an apocalyptic story, incredible story. I really love the games a lot until Fallout 76 came out, and then I just kind of stopped caring about Fallout for a while, but this show is really getting me back into that whole universe again. And yeah, I really definitely recommend checking it out, even if you haven't played the games. Like if you haven't played the games, it really doesn't matter. They introduce a lot of like what you should know in this first episode. It's a really incredible story. It really is. And yeah, so stay tuned for my episode 2 review that will be out later on at some point today. And then followed by episode 3 and 4, and then I'll get to like 5, 6, 7, 8 probably tomorrow. But we'll see. Maybe I'll get them all done tonight or something like that. Probably not. But yeah, if you're interested in my Fallout breakdowns and all of that, then I will have those videos out. But let's talk about the Walking Dead, the Ones Who Live here. So first of all, I guess AMC actually had an upfront event. Now, I'm not entirely sure, I guess, the point of a lot of this. I feel like a lot of it is like, it's just a showcase of AMC's properties in terms of like, content. So they'll be like, okay, well, we have all of these shows, like in terms of The Walking Dead, Interview with the Vampire. There was, I know Dark Winds was there. A lot of that, and you have a lot of the actors and stuff show up there. And I think there's a lot of just like, I guess, talking about the future and just sort of, like what's next for AMC and all of that. And I know they've held one before, and I remember seeing like Andrew Lincoln there, I believe. I think Andrew Lincoln and Denai Guerrero were there before, and I think even the other actors were there. I'm not entirely sure, but they weren't here this time. This time, actually, it was Norman Reedus, Melissa McBride, which was really awesome, and Jeffrey Dean Morgan, and also Lauren Cohen. We actually had all of them there, and obviously because of the, they are like the next, I guess, near future of The Walking Dead. Obviously, if they are going to do a new series for The Walking Dead at some point, like with Rick and Michonne, they will come back and they will be a part of that, right? But obviously, they were a part of the last one because that was sort of the show that was coming out. So this one, it makes sense that they wouldn't be there. And in terms of the details that we usually learn, sometimes they'll announce like a new season or they'll announce something, but usually it's just sort of like, what's the future going to look like? And it's interesting to hear sort of the commitment overall to The Walking Dead. And so far we haven't heard anything, but I do think it's because people are probably working on stories and stuff. And I'm sure there was interviews and all of that. And a lot of those interviews and stuff will probably come out in the next like week or so. So yeah, stay tuned for that, because I am very interested in hearing, what they say on AMC's, I guess, commitment to The Walking Dead. I know they've said like very recently that like The Walking Dead's going to live on and this and that. And they're very excited about these spinoffs and everything. So obviously there's that, but I'm more, interested in like how they talk about Rick and Michonne, right? Like I want to hear how, I guess, like I don't know if the AMC president would be there, but I want to know what the AMC president would have to say about, just like the future of those characters and all of that, right? And yeah, so I imagine that stuff's going to be coming out very, very soon. I mean, obviously they do want to keep the stories going and all of that, and they are sort of doing that, but it is just like, it's one of those things where every single time there's an event, we're just going to have to wait and see if they are going to talk about, like, are Rick and Michonne, coming back at all? Is there going to be something there? And that's kind of why I wanted to do this video, actually, is because there's very, very interesting details that a season 2 of The Ones Who Live, or like a new series, could actually focus and like have in like just literally that entire series. Even if it's like 6 episodes again, which I would prefer it to be 8 episodes. I do think 6 episodes, to me, the more and more that we're getting these 6 episodes, it's proving to me that there's not a lot to really, I think in terms of ending the stories is where there's issues. Everything kind of feels a little bit more rushed, and the other spinoffs had it too. The Ones Who Live just really felt like it because we were expecting a lot more from the CRM. And so just the way they ended that whole thing at the end, obviously it was just insane, right? But I think that, yeah, if they were to do 8 episodes in the future, amazing. And some stuff that they could focus on that I think would be really incredible is the fact that Rick Grimes actually has his Python again. Obviously a very iconic weapon, for Rick Grimes. Judith has had it the entire time since he was gone. He had it on the bridge, and then when the bridge blew up, obviously he would lose the gun, right? So he hasn't had it since then. And in that very final scene, he does have his boots, and it's the exact same boots from season 1, which is incredible. In the Show Me More like behind the scenes thing that I watched, they actually mentioned that like the costume designer was actually so concerned about those boots because it kind of seemed like they were going to fall apart because, I mean, they're so old at this point, right? So wearing them, and you can kind of see, like, it seemed like they could potentially fall apart, right? So, I mean, obviously he wore them for the scene just to do a little bit of walking there or whatever. But yeah, I could definitely see how that would be a concern because they are the same boots from season 1. So, yeah, that definitely would be a worry. But Judith has obviously the Python in this scene here, right? Like when she's running up, you can see that she has the gun. And so it's insane because Rick is actually like with the gun again, technically, though he doesn't actually hold the gun or anything like that. But I was thinking, like, the fact that that's actually happening, this is like, there's little things like that with this story that I think a lot of us fans still really want, right? And that's why there needs to be another series, because there's still so many places that they can go, right? And I think they all know that. That's why they're all like still very open to come back and do more. I think they wanted to close the story on sort of, some of the loose ends from the Walking Dead original series, which I will say does feel so nice to actually have completely like an actual conclusion to all of that, because it was kind of exhausting for a while to just like not know, where the future of all this was going. And so now that we have that, now we can kind of see where they're going. And I want, a new Rick Grimes story where he does have, obviously, like his Python, the Rick Grimes boots, and he just looks more like Rick Grimes again. And obviously he's going to have his like, that's the thing. He's going to look absolutely incredible. Like that's sort of, in terms of like a costume designer's perspective, like from season to season, or if it's a new series or whatever, the first season, he really, he had the CRM outfit and a lot of that. In a second season or like a new series, he wouldn't have the CRM outfit. It would just be sort of whatever outfit, but he would have that comic prosthetic, and then he would have the gun, right? The Python, and then he would have the Rick Grimes boots, which is just like absolutely incredible. And then there's a storyline when it comes to Judith, right? I feel like with Judith, we just haven't seen enough with Judith yet in terms of Rick and Judith's relationship, because the last time they were together, Judith was just like, what, 2 or 3 years old, maybe close to 4 years old. And obviously she had no dialogue or anything like that. And seeing this scene here, seeing Kaylee Fleming specifically with Andrew Lincoln, it was just so like, I want more of a story here, right? And I feel like Kaylee Fleming, she's an amazing actress. Like, I think she could actually hold her own. I really do. I think she could actually hold her own in a scene, carrying a storyline. I mean, that final scene really showed me that. Like, she was absolutely incredible in that scene. And I want to see more scenes there. I want Rick and Judith to talk about the past. And, there's still so much there in terms of Lori and Shane, right? Like, I feel like Judith is going to have questions about that. Like, obviously, like, she might not have certain questions about Lori and Shane and any of that, because for her, she lost her father, Rick, right? And then she had Michonne. So I just feel like, in those moments, she's just going to be more focused on the fact that she lost her father, Rick. But now that she has Rick and Michonne back, I think that there's a lot of things that they could talk about. Like, she might have questions about like her biological mom, Lori, right? Like, how did you guys meet? Like, what was, Carl's mom like? I guess it's technically Judith's mom as well, biologically anyways, right? So just like talking about, what Lori was like. And then also, does Rick even bring up Shane, right? Like, bringing up Shane, I don't even think he will. I just think that's a crazy uncomfortable conversation to have. And I don't think he would, just because obviously his attitude is like, she's my daughter, right? And that's true, because she is. Like, blood doesn't always make you the parent, right? Like, you have to be there. So I think that that's something that would just be a really incredible, I think, moment, or just like Like, would that ever happen? Obviously, Judith maybe is too young, but like maybe if there's a future storyline, because again, like we don't know if this new series or season 2 or whatever they eventually do is going to be like set in the current timeline or in the future. I'm guessing it's going to be a couple of years down the road. And Judith right now is about 13, 14 years old, I would say, around there. I know that in terms of Dead City's timeline, that's a little bit more in the future. So I could see them doing a time jump of a couple of years where Judith is closer to like 17, 18 years old. And I mean, they would have to do that if they want Kaylee Fleming, because I think she's actually around that age right now, 16, 17 or something like that. So, you know, in a couple of years, by the time that they film a season 2 or a new series, she'll be in her early 20s for sure, right? So she can't really play a 13, 14-year-old anymore. And so I think at that point, you would have to do some sort of time jump if you do want Kaylee Fleming to return, which I think most fans would want. I think everyone would want. Like, she's absolutely incredible. She's a really, like, really amazing actress. I think in that very final scene, like, she's a really big part to why that scene's really awesome, because you need good acting, right? Like, you do actually need that. And I think that to have her back at some point in the future, I think would be absolutely amazing, I think, for a lot of fans, because I feel like when she came in as Judith in season 9, everyone was like, okay, she's Judith Grimes. Like, she just seems like the character. She's a perfect fit for the character. And I could just see, you know, in terms of the timeline and the future of things, like her actually getting a bigger role in the future here, because, you know, Rick Grimes eventually is going to get some sort of send off. It'll happen at some point. And so it, like, you know, I'm trying to figure out, how would you do that, right? I feel like if Judith does grow up, and if they were to do like a Walking Dead Next Generation sort of thing, I mean, like, they're not going to do it for a while, because obviously, like, we have Daryl Dixon and Dead City right now, and those shows are going to be going for quite a while. So, like, we have that going right now. But 10 years from now, maybe, like, they do a Walking Dead Next Generation, I think that'd be really, really cool. And then maybe Kaylee Fleming at that point, she would be in her like late 20s or something, right? Then maybe that's where you do that series there. And if everyone's reunited and everything at that point, and they've already filmed all of that with Andrew Lincoln and it's sort of his send-off, maybe as a part of a new series, you know, and Judith and just whatever they do, unless Rick dies or something at the end of a new series. But maybe Rick is there, but he's just like much older now, and he's not really a part of the series. He's just sort of, he's there in Alexandria. You see him for a second in like the premiere, but the story is like, it's Judith's story now, and she goes out, and then she's, you know, doing a bunch of stuff like in the zombie apocalypse and maybe saving people, helping people, or whatever the story would be, right? That would be a really cool kind of like new chapter to all of this here, because this era right now isn't quite over. I know the ending of The Ones Who Live kind of felt like a new era just like started, but I feel like that's more because of the CRM and where they can go with that. But just in terms of Rick reuniting with like Morgan and Daryl and everyone else, you know, there's still so much there that, like, yeah, there's just a lot to get into there, right? So anyways, I'm gonna leave it here. Definitely post all your thoughts down below. What story elements would you be excited about in a Walking Dead The Ones Who Live season 2, or if they were to do like a new series? Post all your thoughts down below. Hope you guys all enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.